I'm good, how are you?
Hi there. All right, hi there, welcome. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is the committee of the whole at 7:18. Has the meeting been publicly noticed?
The meeting has been posted and noticed according to law.
Great, all trustees are present except trustee Amenta, is that correct?
Correct.
Who is excused. The first item and only item on our agenda today is item number 4 on our agenda, which is review of DPW inventory controls. Rebecca. Whoever's gonna take this.
Okay. History in December, a board member requested the village board approve a future item of consideration to discuss internal process and control for theft prevention of various non-cash items in the village's possession. And Director Bushlake has prepared a memo that starts the discussion. Outlining a number of different bulk materials that we have and some communication with neighboring municipalities, because we wanted to kind of do a wide cast on the net to see what, is done in other environments relative to this particular item. And so we're here to discuss that this evening. Okay. Yeah.
So if you read your packet, there was a chart that outlined what other communities do in terms of collecting inventory for their smaller supplies in their Department of Public Works. Not that has to guide what we do, but it is in there. And does anybody have any questions, just general questions? Trustee Mark?
I'm sorry, I should know this, I've had several discussions on this, but do we have what kind of video security system do we have at DPW yard, if any?
We do not have.
Okay.
Videos? What about key cards? So the number one recommendation for the school district has been, and I agree with it, for security purposes, key cards make all the difference because you can tell when someone comes in, tell who exactly it was, how long they were there. Do we have that at DPW yet?
You mean a fob system?
Rather than the key, initial key.
No, we don't have a fob system located at that building. So there's multiple buildings on that site, but if you're referring to the main building or the gate or some manner, no, we don't have that at that time.
Do we have it budgeted for a date?
No, but one of the things we will be looking at with IT is we're all aware, I think we talked about it a couple times this evening, we have a new IT vendor. And one of the items that is on the list for us to review with them, not only for Public Works, but with our, but with our other facilities, is taking a look at what we do have for security cameras at some of our other facilities, and then, at this one. The spatial, we can all agree it's an odd-shaped site. Mm-hmm. If you were going to construct a public works department today, you would not design it in any way, shape, or fashion to the one we currently have on site. So just visually there are some issues with that, but we wanted to take a look at it and get some quotes.
Next year, or is there?
Actually, that's slated to be done the first 6 months of this year.
Oh, okay.
To obtain the quotes for purposes of then kind of coming with the information for 2021 budget.
I'm putting the cart way before the horse, but do you have a ballpark on how much a fob system and or a video system
Well,
costs?
we have ballparks on fobs for like one door. When we look at the Public Works facility overall, you have, we would need to talk through what goals we were looking to meet, I guess, by fobbing.
Entry and exit time.
Right, but so the majority of the entrance and exit gets done through a gate.
Anywhere there was a physical gate, right? I mean, that's what we did here at Village Hall over the last few years.
Right, so we do have that capability. We just need to look to see exactly how many buildings that would entail and where you'd want to put those.
What is it per door?
I want to say around 7,000.
Per door?
Yeah, was that?
think
I'm
it was
trying
that
to
high.
recall the amount that we budgeted for Village Center. An example would be we budgeted It's either half of 7,000 or 7,000, I'm sorry, because it was
It's
done
one
in
more.
2018.
Here too.
Right, and that, the one done here was prior to me. But at Village Center, for example, we came into the circumstance where we only had a certain amount budgeted, so we could only do specific entrance doors, because per door, not like per double door. So we'd wanna take a look at, you know, what would be fobbed and how that would work. So that's definitely something else we can take a look at. I'll be looking at that as well for additional door possibilities, both in Village Center and in Village Hall.
Okay. Last question on that, I apologize, unless someone else has one on the key fobs. So anywhere there's a physical key would be my start. And I understand that it's phased, and we've done a great job of that. We just don't borrow money and do everything at one time. So I totally understand why we haven't gotten there yet, but I do think, I'm very happy that that'll be provided for 2021. Going into the budget cycle, it's probably the most, and if you're asking what would be the agenda, I think just knowing who's coming in and out of the building. I remember when we left DPW during our walkthrough of showing us all the inventory that day, I almost got locked in. Remember? Were you there? I don't remember who it was, but, because I was in the bathroom. And so, so anyways, it's just a very antiquated system that someone actually has to take the key and, you know, lock. And so, anyways,
One of the other things where I particularly would wanna, and the fob system is another great example of that, but also I think we should be looking at some type of security cameras in this location, is because I think we wanna have an understanding of when our staff are in our facilities, but we also wanna have an understanding of the public's access. And at times, you know, monitoring, making people aware that when they do come to this place of business, that, you know, to help enforce appropriate expectations for behavior.
I just want to share with the board members that, I can't remember who at the ICC talked about it, I think it was Brown Deer.
Brown Deer.
They just I shared it with Rebecca, implemented a system where in DPW for the recycling on the weekends, they have, key cards for every resident were mailed out with a tax bill. And, you could come in with your key card and for free, there was no staff there. They would, we would know, you know. But anyways, and I don't know how that's gonna go. I said to Rebecca, we should monitor it, but an interesting concept. They're really proud of it, so.
So Brown Deer just got done with constructing a brand new public works facility, of which I've had the opportunity to tour twice now, actually. But the way that they designed a lot of their system is, they do have a pretty robust security system that actually takes to license plates and then monitors activity at all time. So I could talk more about that,
But I'm just assuming though, that if you know the resident, you can bill them. You don't have to take the cash on hand.
I don't believe that they're billing for resident use, that it's just something to help control access at a point where they're not actually needing to provide staff on site.
So they can go 24 hours a day and use that.
I don't know if it's 24 hours.
And I don't know the timing.
We would need to get back to them.
You can program.
On that. We know that Grafton also uses something similar, but they did it in a different way. There's been some critique over how they deployed that, but, you know, a concept. For us, you know, a lot of it is, you know, the spatial constraint, jump in if I'm not reflecting something correctly, but the spatial constraints of our site was an issue for circulation. They do now with how our current drop site works on a Saturday. So it's something that we need to consider and evaluate. But I think one of the goals with both security cameras as well as fobs is we want to take a look at what that would mean practically, kind of lay some of those pieces out on the table, and then come back to you with the information that we have to say, okay, this is what we learned, this is what we think would be most practical. Engaging, you know, our IT and how we would function with that, not just for this facility, but for our others as well.
So when you're buying supplies and stuff, there's the orders placed, I'm just trying to think of the I mean, the thing is here is inventory was the question, or supplies. So that's reviewed by the supervisor, or how does the chain of review process go on the ordering and the payment for items?
Well, that varies
Okay,
by
right,
items.
sure.
Typically on the stock items, stock items, we do not review those purchases,
Is there a dollar?
not formally. Well,
I think
purchase
there
is.
orders, yeah.
Anything over $1,000, it goes through me.
Right, I think there is a dollar.
And that's per purchasing policy, but anything smaller than that typically, we do not review prior to order.
Prior,
It's
okay.
upon payment.
Upon payment, so you're looking to see, does it look appropriate?
Yep.
Is it an item that, and unlike auto supplies are tracked by vehicle or?
Our new system allows us to do that.
Okay.
This is the software system that we implemented last year.
What's it called?
I-
Is it a financial software?
No,
It's
it's a
fleet
fleet
maintenance.
maintenance.
Okay.
For the fueling procedure, what they, so to use the fuel, is there any audit that is then done or a way to track like the miles that were, like how do we know?
No, there really isn't any way to track mileage.
Mhm.
I review the reports monthly,
Mm.
and typically what I look for is, times in and out. It's one of the, did this occur?
Times per vehicle?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you have the.
Versus,
Yep, so, was it during the course of a normal work day, was it, if it seems an odd hour, then you can check against, do we have staff in on after-hours emergency, that sort of thing. You can also, you can view, so each vehicle or piece of equipment has its own key, or has its own swipe card.
mhm.
So you can, I kind of monitor the frequency of how often each swipe card is used.
Okay.
And how many gallons?
Gallons is tough because, we have certain fueling protocols that certain equipment is always supposed to be kept full because of after-hours emergency reasons.
Mhm.
So you can have the same piece of equipment run through that line 2 days in a row. One day it'll get, 4 gallons, the next day it might get another 4 gallons.
But I'm just saying, does the card, so my question is, number one, the policy says fuel is only to be used for village-owned vehicles, and I thought that we allow others to fuel there, like the North Shore Fire Department.
The procedure that was attached was for DPW vehicles only.
But they don't get key cards with our
No.
other
The
vehicles
fee,
and stuff?
this applies to DPW vehicles.
So is there another policy that applies to the other vehicles?
Are you referencing like the police department, or are you talking about the
Mhm.
school district?
Anybody who gets there besides the DPW vehicles,
Okay.
because they
Who
also
can comment
fuel.
on police?
Can only comment on the department that we oversee, and we have a policy for how our vehicles are fueled.
But you oversee the fueling station,
We operate the fueling station.
so obviously we need someone to oversee the fueling station. Would it be DPW?
So they have cards, does the police department have cards for each of their vehicles and a
Every-
number for the
yes.
person?
So we all use it in the exact same manner.
Okay,
So-
Every employee who has access to the fuel station is assigned a unique 4-digit number. But each vehicle or equipment is assigned a unique swipe card. You need to use both of those to activate the
Okay.
fuel.
And so you should be able to have a record, and just tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm a police officer, I have my own 4-digit code,
Mm-hmm.
I come with my car after hours, just say, I have to go and get some key for that vehicle, right?
The key is kept with the vehicle, yes.
Okay, and I swipe it, I put in my 4-digit code, and then I leave. Does it record
Yes.
how many gallons
Yes.
they filled?
Yep.
And so there is a total, like I say at the end of the month for that vehicle, and you can compare that over and over to see if that, granted, they're gonna fluctuate, I understand all that, but there is gonna be a general pattern by the end of the year. Is that something we can do?
We can review those reports, yes.
And
That's
but
what
we-
you're currently doing.
That's what I currently.
Only for DPW?
No, I review everybody's.
You review them, okay.
I don't necessarily pay specific attention to how frequently vehicles are fueled. If I think that I see something that seems off, then I contact the police chief or whomever.
Okay.
But I don't attempt to monitor their consumption trends. No. I do that for our vehicles, but I do not do it for vehicles that are not under my control.
So does Mark do that? Who's in charge of, who, I guess the
Well, it
clear,
comes out of- I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Since police gas comes out of the police budget, correct?
Yep.
So what you're tracking is odd fluctuations that might indicate, something, but you're not monitoring like the police budget consumption. You're doing that for DPW.
Correct.
But you're monitoring for consistent usage that would reflect
Something out of the ordinary.
the services that are provided.
How do they gain how does like the school district, is there after hour access to the yard, the fuel?
They have a gate key, same as our employees do.
Okay.
So any basic exterior area that we can access after hours, a fire department, a police department, or a school district employee can also access.
And then Mark will monitor the payment for that, right? Outside people like fire department and, so our finance director would then bill them?
No, DPW issues the invoices for fuel,
Okay,
which I see and review,
okay.
but I don't take that invoice and make an assumption that
Right.
vehicle X in the fire department used an appropriate or an inappropriate amount of fuel.
And just to go back to the camera and fob discussion, and knowing that we have people from the police department and the school board, or school district that are coming to use that fuel, you know, are we, I mean, I think the fob is really important, but, you know, is there, like, I guess.
The gate card, does that record things like a fob?
No, it's a key.